And thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Let's get started. Tonight, a 300-page report from state investigators found the utility company Inland Power and Light is to blame for the deadly gray fire at Medical Lake last summer. It was one of the most destructive fires in Washington state history, destroying hundreds of homes and buildings and claiming the life of one man. Now we know investigators knew within hours of the first spark it was likely due to faulty equipment owned by Inland Power and Light. There are already 2 lawsuits against the company. Attorney John Allison says while this isn't the end of the legal fight, it does strengthen their case.
When the law says if you violate a duty of care and if you are negligent, you should be responsible for the damages caused. And that's what we're seeking here.
Well, the report shows a witness noticed the light flickering from a possible loose wire months before the gray fire. As far as she knew, Inland Power never followed up after she says she called to report it. Less than 24 hours after the report's release, the attorneys behind the largest lawsuit to date held a town hall for those impacted by the gray fire. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk was at that meeting tonight. And Kyle, what else did we learn about possible compensation from Inland Power?
Well, yeah, Mark, that's what people really want to know, especially those who were underinsured. These attorneys just don't know yet, but say this report is going to help their case.
This appears to be a slam dunk. Hopefully it'll expedite the litigation, but it's still a big case. It's still going to take some time.
Attorneys with Singleton Schreiber pointed the finger at Inland Power months ago. Their assumptions are now backed by an independent investigation from the Department of Natural Resources. Lawsuits against Inland Power are moving forward.
Typically what happens in these cases is the utility always tries to delay, and they usually try to mount some sort of a defense.
During a virtual town hall with gray fire victims, attorneys laid out the next steps. A trial is set for November 2025. However, attorneys John Lemon and Steve Hill think Inland Power could settle to avoid trial.
It should be negotiated as an individual case, and it should be settled as an individual case. That's something that we feel very strongly about.
Fire victims could receive economic damages, recovering anything not covered by insurance. Settlements could also include money for emotional damages. Lemon says insurance companies will also go after Inland Power to recoup money they paid fire victims.
We want to get in line ahead of the insurance companies if there's limited resources. But again, at this point, I don't know that that's a concern here. From this point forward, our objective is to make you whole to the best of our ability.
All right, so Kyle, this is a story they've been tracking not just all day, but since the fire sparked back in August. And tonight there was a lot of talk about compensation, but many of these families lost sentimental items. How would they equate that kind of value?
Well, that's right. Tonight we heard, people that have lost family photo albums. There was a veteran who spoke about losing his uniform from the war, from a flag he received. So how do you put a dollar amount really on that? It's not as simple as just saying, I lost an RV. It cost me $20-some thousand. So attorneys say that's a little more difficult to determine. They will be compensated, but it probably won't be as much as it was really worth to them in the first place.
Right. I know this is just getting underway with the cause coming out today, but what happens if Inland Power goes bankrupt?
That was discussed quite a bit. And, Inland Power is one of the smaller actors in large scheme of things. I mean, Avista, they have about 400,000 customers. Puget Sound Energy, you're talking about 1.2 million. Inland Power only has about 39,000 customers. So attorneys have, through the discovery process, asked Inland Power to come forward with how much insurance they had, insurance coverage at the time. And they say basically they will kind of cross that bridge when they get there. And that's something that they're definitely going to be looking at.
All right, Kyle, keep us posted. Thank you very much. All right, the 2 lawsuits against Inland Power and Light could go to jury trial by next year if the company doesn't agree to settle. We did speak to the Department of Natural Resources, the agency behind the investigation. He said it's incredibly important to dispatch investigators the day the fire sparks to ensure they find its origin, and that's what they did this time. In the meantime, we also know an investigation into the Oregon Road fire, which sparked the same day, was completed a few weeks ago. DNR determined that fire to be human-caused, but they don't know exactly how. For a look back at any of our coverage of these investigations, just head to our website. That's KREM.com. All right, let's switch gears and talk weather. We are looking at a slight chance of snow back in the forecast. For more on that, let's get straight to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy the Goo. Jeremy?
Well, when it comes to snow, it is a slight chance, emphasis on slight, because the overall weather pattern kind of favors not much of anything. We don't have much moisture, we don't have much energy, and we don't really have the cold, so what falls doesn't amount to much. 37 here at 10 p.m. And keep in mind, our temperatures are likely going to stay above freezing tonight and tomorrow. And then when that snow eventually works its way in, the ground is just too warm. Massive trough overhead digging in is what brings the cold air overhead. That cold air overhead sets the stage for scattered showers. Those scattered showers start out as rain because of the southerly flow advecting in the moisture. But then as things switch to more zonal or west to east, we pull in our next wave of energy, and that kind of hits, I would say, overnight Thursday into Friday, and by Friday morning it falls as snow and then moves out quickly in the morning. So by Friday afternoon we see sunshine. That is going to melt anything that falls. So I think it's kind of grassy surfaces and hills wind up getting about a ½ an inch. On roads, it's a slushy mess that melts about as fast as it falls.
All right, Jeremy, thank you very much. Check back in with you later in the show. In the meantime, we'll move on to our night beat with a quick look at today's top stories. A project that's been in the works since 2019 is finally coming to fruition. This after Pullman City Council approved a contract to revitalize the downtown area. That contract is with Apollo Incorporated, a Kennewick-based construction company, for a little less than $9 million. Last night's meeting was a bit heated, not because people are opposed to improvements, it's the timeline that is causing concern. Downtown business owners say limiting or cutting off access to their stores during construction would be detrimental.
Top it off, for 3 years, you've told us businesses to prepare for 3 months and suddenly change it to close to 7 months, giving us only 2 months to prepare for a 115% increase in the timeline, telling us to just go get more loans to cover the difference.
The one thing that we do not have is a back door. If I came around and decided I wanted to destroy every one of your business or whatever you do, you would be outraged. But you all have this power.
The project is expected to begin April 1st with all work to be completed by November 22nd. Council approved the contract with a 5-2 vote. Meantime, a new music venue is breathing life back into the former Lucky You Lounge. The Chameleon will open its doors next month. According to an Instagram post, the club's opening weekend will start on Friday, March 1st with a big lineup featuring several artists. It is located on West Sunset Boulevard in downtown Spokane. And after a months-long closure, the Garland Theater will officially reopen also on March 1st. The theater posted on its Instagram account announcing it'll kick off with a showing of Benny and June. You can buy the tickets for just $5, but their website says to wait a bit before buying as they are finishing construction. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just head to our website. That's KREM.com.